to each other. We got to find out who we are. Let's see some leaders. Let's rise up and let's go take care of this. When our backs are against the wall, what do we rely on? The brotherhood. Yep. Do it for your community, because they're out here to support you tonight.
Have a passion for this game, but more importantly, have a passion for each other.
It's Football Friday night.
We are back. 714 high schools across Ohio will suit up a football team this season, around 150 of them here in Central Ohio in the viewing area, so we're going to be awfully busy this year. We're glad you're with us to kick off another season.
But it's not just another season.
No, it is not.
It's the biggest and best season of Football Friday night ever, and that includes our new NBC4 Sports Fan Cave. It's fashionable and functional.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Here's what's coming up on our show. We visited more than 30 schools over the past month, so we're going to preview all the major conferences. Plus, we'll reveal the 14 players on our FFN preseason team. And you're going to meet a kicker whose field goals prove more valuable than just 3 points. All that is ahead. But first, to talk about what's new in 2015, we go to the new addition on our Football Friday night team for the season. The pride of Pickerington, Miss Audrey Hassan, joining us. She is live in Canal Winchester tonight. Hey, Audrey.
Hey, Jared and Matt. I am here with the cheerleaders of Canal Winchester. Girls, you want to give a cheer?
Indians, yell it! CWHS! Indians, yell it!
There's soccer going on at the stadium tonight. Tomorrow, the Indians host Groveport to kick off the football season. With any new season, you get new coaches and new players. But this year, it's even more jumbled than normal because of how many teams changed divisions this year. The OHSAA reversed an original ruling on how they would calculate enrollment numbers to decide in which divisions schools would play. Many schools, especially Columbus City schools, were bumped up a division or two, but now most of those schools will move back down. Among the coaching changes this year, Bob Gesowich takes over at Dublin Jerome. Westerville South now coached by 26-year-old Kyle Stout.
It's going to be a new look. You're going to see, a Westerville South team that still spreads it like it's known to do, but at times there'll be some two-back, kind of that Northeast Ohio, pound the rock a little bit.
Coming from a very tradition-rich program to one with a minimal amount of tradition, at least in football, we've been very happy with the way the kids have kind of strived to reach what we've set in front of them.
Last year, only one school in our viewing area made it to the state championship weekend at Ohio State. Let's hope that's another change this season.
All right, thank you, Audrey. Look at Central Ohio football starts with Central Ohio's biggest conference, the OCC.
This year, it's a league loaded with talent and eager to prove a point statewide.
Starting in the OCC Central, which unites several of Central Ohio's finest football programs. And in 2015, Dublin Kaufman may be among the very best in all of Ohio. Numerous Division I prospects set to suit up for the Shamrocks, including All-State quarterback Gunnar Hoke and outstanding linebackers Griffin Grady and Isaac McKinney. In summary, the Rocks are ready to roll.
I mean, we haven't had a great deep run for a while, and as a senior, that's something that you always want to have.
But no Rocks, especially Hilliard Davidson, eager to bounce back from a 6-5 season that's well below their lofty standards. The Cats return quarterback Jack Klein and the bulk of a feisty defense. Expect Upper Arlington to improve with a bunch of returning starters and a surprising addition. First-team All-State defensive back Tyrese Spate from Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. He transferred in for his senior season.
I want to get him back on top. I've won 2 state championships, and then I'm ready to go out with another one.
Oh, and also in the division, Olentangy Liberty. The Pats finished 9-3 last year, and this year, big offensive lineman A.J. Arcuri helps pave the way. And perhaps the biggest surprise team in Central Ohio last year also plays in this division, Central Crossing. They went from 2-8 to a playoff team in Division I. The Comets can throw the ball, led by super talented receiver Noah Stevens and quarterback Derek Williamson.
Ready to take on those challenges, ready to be, to compete for the tops of one of the best leagues around, which ultimately gives you a chance to be in the playoffs again.
If the Central Division of the OCC ranks as the strongest, the Ohio Division would be a very close second. Perhaps the best player in Central Ohio plays here. Gahanna's powerhouse defensive end Jonathan Cooper. He'll be a Buckeye after this season, but for now, he's a problem for offensive linemen in high school. The Lions went 7-3 in Bruce Ward's first season as head coach.
Our program understands our expectations as a coaching staff. They understand our style of practice, our style of play. So, the curve has moved ahead a little bit.
As always, the Pickerington schools will mount an impressive surge. At Central, the Tigers have won this division 10 of the past 12 years and are again loaded with Division I talent. Safety Seth Curran's committed to Wisconsin, and defensive end Jalen Bannerman is bound for Kentucky.
We usually figure out if we're going to be good or good by about week 3 or 4. So we want to be ready for Trotwood week 1, put together a good game plan. These guys will execute it. All we got to do is try to give them the right size uniform and let it go.
Pickerington North's looking for a rebound from a rare losing season, and they certainly have the size to do it. Offensive line anchored by future Ohio Bobcat Adam Notstein.
Because I know I have the kids back to compete, and I still have when you look at the roster, we're still young. But we threw a lot of youth out there last year.
And a sleeper team in the Ohio Division could be Reynoldsburg. The Raiders just 3-7 a year ago, but very talented, including defensive end Mark Gooden, who's heading to Northwestern.
In the OCC Cardinal, it's the home of the Westervilles, and Westerville Central could be the best of the division and one of the best in the state. The Warhawks finished 11-2 last year and feature a tremendous trio of quarterback, running back, and receiver in Gavin Lyons, Benny Snell, and Cedric Frierson.
We did a lot of growing since last year. Everything's new, fast-paced. We feel stronger. We feel good. We're ready.
Just down the road at Westerville South, Kyle Stout takes over as the head coach, and he inherits some elite talent, including future Ohio State defensive back Marcus Williamson and Northwestern commitment Gunnar Vogel up front.
It's going to be a new look. You're going to see a Westerville South team that still spreads it like it's known to do, but at times there'll be some two-back, kind of that Northeast Ohio, pound the rock a little bit, and we're trying to bring a toughness on both sides of the ball.
Over at Hilliard Darby, the Panthers are thinking playoffs again, and rightfully so. Quarterback Nick Powers accounted for 28 touchdowns a year ago, and he's back for more. Dublin Scioto played itself into the region final a year ago, but needs several young players to step into important roles this year.
If your program's doing anything well, you should always be replacing a great senior class. So that's our goal.
Finally, in the Capital Division, you'll find a clear favorite. Olentangy was the only OCC team last year to make it to the state semifinals. The Braves will move up to Division I this year, but they will embrace that move with a talented roster, including starting quarterback Deeb Haber and future Purdue lineman Luke Campbell.
This year our motto is do your job. It's all about doing your job and everybody accepting and excelling in their role that they're being asked to carry out for the football team.
Elsewhere in the Capital Division, Worthington-Kilbourne laid down brand new turf this year, and they plan to burn it up with 6'7" receiver Dakota Holtzclaw and a team good enough to make the playoffs for the 3rd straight year.
That's one of our big goals, so we're very excited. We have a bunch of guys coming back on offense. The junior class last year led the offense, so now we're all coming back as seniors, so we're very excited.
Delaware Hayes thinks it could be much improved, led by one of the state's top linebackers in Ethan Tuckey. And New Albany primed for a playoff return thanks to a large and talented senior class.
Despite that enrollment issue we talked about earlier, it's still a year of optimism for the Columbus City League, led by some old favorites, and that always starts with Marion Franklin. Over the past 4 years, only one school inside the 270 perimeter has beaten the Red Devils, and they should be strong again. Now, Walnut Ridge could challenge them in the City League South. Scott's led by 6'5" wide receiver / quarterback Malik Harrison. In the North Division, Beechcroft again the favorite. Quarterback Messiah Fleming returns from a team that played in Week 13 last season. Northland could be the biggest challenger for the Cougars.
It was a lot of pressure, honestly, coming in because beginning of 2 days, everybody was against each other. It was literally Brookhaven versus Beechcroft. But we came together as a team, and we kind of mixed in Brookhaven and Beechcroft ways and came out with a pretty successful season.
Even though we're low in numbers, it ain't about the talent. It ain't about none of that. It ain't no individual. We all team and family.
And among the 5 schools of the Central Catholic League, Bishop Hartley stand out. And I don't say that because I went to school there. The Hawks may have their best team since they won the state championship 5 years ago. The Hawks feature a talented backfield. Kareem Hickman ran for 28 touchdowns last year. Quarterback Jake Ruby, he's back and returns to lead the offense. Elsewhere in the league, DeSales features one of Ohio's best defensive backs in Austin Andrews. He's headed to Michigan State next year. And the Stallions, they won 10 games last year, but need to replace many starters. Watterson had 2 years far off their usual pace, so the Eagles and Coach Dan Bajelic have hunkered down for a jump back up.
We talk about all the great teams we have to play and how well you have to play them. I mean, we know how good Watterson is and how hard they're working and how hard DeSales is working and how important those games are for us. And that's plenty of motivation.
We don't have to be led anymore. We lead ourselves. You know what I mean? So just us having more opportunities to be better and be great.
A year ago, the Licking County League celebrated several success stories, including surprising Watkins Memorial. The Warriors finished 8-3, made a playoff run, and 3 other Licking County League teams also made the postseason. Granville, Johnstown, and Licking Valley all finished 8-3. Watkins enjoyed its first playoff year since 2008. Licking Valley may be making a few changes to their offense this year. Might see them throw it a little bit more. And while Newark Catholic endured a rare down year last year, expect a rebound from the program, which has won 9 state championships.
We're used to making playoffs usually every year, but it motivated us pretty well. We work really hard, and when we don't make it, it stings a little.
We think last year maybe we were just satisfied to get into the playoffs, and that might have been us coaches' fault there. But so we've tried to set bigger goals, but then just take it one game at a time.
Now, the season is barely underway, but it has already been a unique experience for coaches. They have never taught the game the way they have this year, and that's by rule. Earlier this summer, the OHSAA imposed new policies for football practices designed to limit the amount of contact players endure. Teams must limit their full contact drills to 60 minutes a week over a maximum of 2 contact practices per week. It's a major change of pace from old school practices. These policies reflect the National Federation of High Schools recommendations designed to limit concussion risk. It's a bit of a headache for some coaches who worry about additional liability risk. Change can be painful, but the goal remains to protect players in a tough sport.
It'll force some creativity, and that's part of life. There's going to be some evolution to everything that we do, and this is no different. But it's still football.
One thing I've learned, that high school kids only have so many good hits a season, and let's use them on Friday and not a Tuesday afternoon when they're still got a headache from math class.
We both have headaches from math classes. 2 years
That's
ago,
well put.
Governor Kasich signed into law an athlete's concussion protocol, which schools must follow before allowing athletes to return to play after a suspected head injury.
We've been working on this show for about a month, so we're merely getting started for you. Coming up, Gahanna's place kicker plans to win games and raise money to fight cancer at the same time. Audrey has that story.
Plus, we'll head outside 270 to cover some of the other elite programs in the region, and you will meet this year's Football Friday Night preseason team. It's all in the mix. Next on
Football Friday Night.